keep trying. I think I gave up a little bit too soon, to be honest. Network as much as possible. I was out there networking. I was on LinkedIn just to try to get my foot in the door.
For that person who's not hearing much back, not making much traction, what would you tell them to do differently starting tomorrow? What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Breaking Into Tech Sales podcast. Today's guest actually invested in another tech sales coaching program, couldn't make it past second round interviews with that program, joined Sword, and within 26 days, we had 2 job offers on the table for him. Ultimately, he landed on one that doubled his income from 40 to 80K, and now he gets to work fully remote at one of the world's fastest growing tech companies out there. I think you guys are going to like this one. Let's go to the beginning. So
100%.
before we connected, remind me, what was your job search actually like day to day? Like, how many applications were you putting out? What were you seeing as you were trying to get into tech sales?
And you said
Mm-hmm.
before we had connected, right? Yeah, so I tried to get into tech
Mm,
sales like 2 years ago, right? I was doing that. I did that for about 6 months. Was there was no
yeah.
traction. I was getting interviews because I had paid for a course. It was
Yeah.
called Course Careers. So I went through that. And had a little bit of success. Like I was landing interviews, but I wasn't really
Mm,
getting past like first or second round. So then I stopped for like 2 years, 2.5 years, and I've been in the high ticket sales space
yeah.
for the last year. And I honestly like I stopped thinking about tech sales until I saw an ad that popped
Okay.
up on Instagram from you. I hadn't thought about tech sales for a long time before I saw the ad. And yeah, so I hadn't done any, to answer your question, I hadn't done any applications or anything until I hopped on the call with, I forgot his name, but hopped on the call with him and then joined the program. So I didn't do any
Right.
applications
Okay. Do you
before
know?
that.
So the first time you went through, it sounds like you went through course careers. Um, do you know
Mhm.
why? Like knowing what you know now, why you were stuck at kind of first, second rounds? Like what would you say was keeping you stuck?
It's a great question. I would say, honestly, I think the biggest thing for me was there were a ton of interviews that I didn't get that
Mm,
I feel like I could have gotten because I was stuck on like I
mm,
got a bunch of auto reject emails. So I know like knowing what I know now, like I know that majority of the time the rejection emails that are coming through are from bots. So being able to, I think I could have landed a lot more interviews if I was able to have the information I had now to reach out to people and not just look at not just be
the
satisfied with
auto
the
reject. Yeah, yeah,
bot
yeah.
email,
Dude,
right?
that's a huge
Um,
unlock because
yeah,
when
so
you like you don't know what you don't know, and when you get those auto reject emails, it feels final. It feels like, oh, well, they don't want my resume, they don't like me. 'But yeah, what we teach is like,
100%,
yeah, you're gonna get auto rejected. You didn't sit there for 2 hours and optimize your resume with keywords for that. Of course you're gonna get auto rejected. Screw it. Reach out anyway, right? Did that happen
right,
with Deal and Raptor? Did
100%.
you get the auto rejects?
It d- it no, so I didn't. So I actually got rejected from Deal when I applied 2 years ago. Like I was telling Peter this earlier today. Um I literally applied and I think I got the auto reject
Yeah.
like the next day. And then I kind of just went on um with life. But to go back to the
Mm,
original question that you asked me, so I think I think the biggest thing for me was I think there
mm,
was a confidence piece in the first and second round interviews, and I honestly didn't really know what to expect. Especially for like the first couple, because they were each first round interview and second round interview that I had, they were all pretty much different. Um, so I think the biggest thing was confidence and really, I think I was asking really good questions as well. And then also, I think a big thing was for me was creating
yeah.
the deck. So I created a deck for every company, and I think them having the deck and then me just being confident in my answers
Yeah.
and kind of knowing what I'm talking about, I think that really helped me get past like
Mm.
first round, second round, and then
Yeah,
third
man,
round
you
interviews
bring up a good
for
point.
sure.
I think the reason the deck is so effective is because interviews are like it's all perception, right? How you respond to the questions is perception of
Mhm.
we perceive Justin is going to do
Right.
well based on the response he just gave, or how you present yourself. We perceive Justin's going to
Hmm.
do well because he's confident. But there's not a lot of proof we can provide in interviews. And so by doing the deck, it kind of answers that
Right.
question of like, well, can Justin actually do the work? And then you submit this deck and they're looking at this thing like, dude, this is baller. Like, who's doing this, right? He clearly is going to know how to do the work. And so I
Hmm.
think it answers that question for us managers of can we like them, but can they actually do the work? And that's definitely helpful. So coming into
100%.
Sword, you already had a little bit of a foundation from course careers. Um, would you say
Hmm.
primarily that was the biggest difference, kind of how you approached interviews, or was there anything else that was like different than the way you approached the job search?
Yeah, I would say it
Mm,
was a lot, to be honest. Like, I think like before, when I was doing my job search previously, I didn't have access to Apollo, and I didn't have like a sequence that I was running.
yeah,
I think that was super helpful. Um, having a sequence, having multiple day sequence, so you're being organized and doing different things, doing multi-touch, um,
yeah,
a multi-touch approach to try to get in front of people that I'm sure are getting a ton of messages anyway. So try different things that definitely helped. Um, the deck as well. Like I said, I think that was the biggest
mm,
thing for me because I got compliments on
come on,
every interview. Just being consistent with it because
yeah,
it is a lot of work to do the deck. It's tedious, but the more you do it,
yeah,
the easier it gets, I think. So doing that and then interview prep as well. I know that was huge for me. Also, and then there was another thing that I had on the top of my head that just slipped. A big thing for me was I sent out a bunch of like custom videos too, like
mm,
a minute long videos to hiring managers and then also to um,
right,
different SDRs on the team. I think that
yeah,
helped a lot. I would say like half of the interviews that I had were
yeah,
from
come on,
referrals, um, in which I sent, videos or I knew a couple of people. And so yeah, I would say to sum all of that up, I think there was a bunch of different things that definitely helped that I didn't
yeah.
have
And
before.
for the person watching that can't even seem to land one interview or get like one reply, I think at your peak, you had like 9 companies in your pipeline that you were interviewing with,
Mhm.
and it got crazy.
Yeah.
What advice would you give that
Mhm.
person for building that kind of volume where you're actually landing that many interviews?
It's a great question. So I would say it's definitely I would say
Yeah,
consistency is number
absolutely.
one for sure. I think that like I think for me, I was super consistent throughout the whole process. Like I was doing literally everything that you taught us to do. Um, I was doing the sequencing, right? If you knew somebody at the company, I was getting or sending that over so we could get an introduction and I can send a video over, creating the decks, right? Even using forget what it was called, but it was like
Mm,
a tracker, right? Where there was different stages, like first stage and then second stage, third stage. And I did
yeah,
that for every
the
company,
interview
right? So I think
checklist.
the biggest thing was yeah. So I think the biggest thing was just staying consistent and really just trying
Mm,
different approaches. I think for me, like I think out of the nine, it was like five referrals. So I think part of that was networking as well. So like reaching out to different people. Like I actually reached out for a deal, for example, like I reached out to Peter, and he was a prior sword member. So I just reached out to him just to get advice, and he put in a referral for me. So I think consistency and just like doing what you can to stand out, whether that's cold calling hiring managers or
yeah,
sending custom videos. I think just doing whatever you can to stand out
yeah.
and be different from the rest. I think is what kind of helped me get all of those
It's such
interviews.
a fact of the job search that you're gonna get rejected, and I think that's why people stop at how everyone approaches the job. Like,
Mhm.
everyone only goes so far. They put in the application, maybe if they go above and beyond, they're reaching out to a manager or they're trying to connect to a teammate, maybe. And when they do that, it's usually only on, like, LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Well, good luck, buddy. You've got, like, 68 other people that also DM that manager on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
But I think the mentality is like, "Well,
Mhm.
I'm getting rejected anyway. It's a consistency game. Let me just keep going." The reality is though, like using what we teach at Sword, you're still going to get rejected, but your success ratio is wildly
Mhm.
different, right? Because you're actually making progress, you're making headway. Like in your case, I think Ox Security was like your top choice, bro. Like dream job. It didn't
Yeah.
work out. They
Yeah.
decided to go with someone else. How
Mhm.
did you handle your interviews differently after that rejection?
It's a great question. Yeah, I was definitely I remember telling you about this. I was man, I was because that was my first rejection. Like, I think that was the I made it
Mm,
to the second round, and that was the furthest that I had gotten, uh, since I started. Yeah, so that was definitely tough, but I think the biggest thing for me was kind of like the role that I'm currently in. I'm in a sales role, so I deal with rejection a lot anyway. So I think I'm kind of
mm,
used to it in a sense. And I think just the biggest thing for me was, this is one opportunity. There's plenty others. Like you said, I had 9 interviews, right? So it's there was a lot more companies, right? So I think just having the mindset of continuing and knowing where I want to be and not just letting one rejection, stop me from getting to where I want to be essentially. It's kind of my thought process behind it. Um, and I know like during the process, there were a bunch of other companies that I wanted to work
mhm.
for also. So I think another thing that helped was, having
Yeah,
other options as well. I think it would have been probably would have been a lot harder if I didn't have
yeah.
anything else lined up. Um, but since I had other opportunities lined up, I think that helped a little bit. But just yeah, just knowing that I knew I wanted to get into tech sales like really bad, and I tried before and
Mm,
it didn't happen. So I think just having that mindset kind of helped
yeah.
me get there
In
essentially.
sales, to be successful, we have to practice the art of detachment. And it sounds very
Hmm.
stoic, but it's just the best way to handle it where it's like, "Oh, I didn't get that interview? Good. It wasn't for me. What can I learn?" Like, very much the Jocko Willink mindset of like, "Oh, something bad happened? Good. What can I learn?" And it's that simple. It's like,
Yeah,
look, stoicism
right,
is great, but there are
100%.
downfalls. Like you want to be emotionally connected, of course. However, in a job search, if you can take that mindset, it's going to help you so much because then you're not like all wrapped up in one job and this is the one. I mean, I've had clients where they've got that dream job, it doesn't work out, and they they ghost for like 2 weeks because they're sad about it. I'm like, look, I get it,
Hmm.
and we just wasted 2 weeks, right? And so Dustin, I think you did a great job of just like, okay, I'm very excited. I really want this one. And let me just point over here a little bit, right? Keep my pipeline moving. And to your point, when you have 8 other opportunities on the table, it's like, okay, it's all right if this one doesn't work out.
Right. Yeah, it definitely got to a point because you talk about
The
that
Dunning Kruger
curve. What
effect.
what is it called again? The Yes, I definitely felt that at one point. I think it was like a week before
Mm,
I got the deal offer. Um like it was like I was getting past the different interviews and I had gotten rejected from a couple of different companies. And then I was kind of in this like stuck state where I was like I
mm,
don't know if this is gonna work out, and it might take me a lot longer than I wanted it to. Because essentially I was trying to find a job as soon as possible because I'm planning on moving soon, um, and I knew I needed
yeah.
something relatively quickly. So I was getting to a point to where I was honestly
Mm,
feeling stuck, I would say in a sense. Not that I was gonna give up, but I had those thoughts of like, what if this takes a lot longer than it should, or like, what if I don't
yeah.
actually get a job. So I had that literally like the week prior, and then just went through the interviews the next week, and got the
Yeah.
offer, which I thought was
That that
super
is one
cool.
of the
Yeah.
hardest things for me too explain to a new client is like, look, if you do this process, if you follow through, if you're consistent, you will succeed. I I have a 100% success rate. Like there's never been anyone that's done this stuff and hasn't gotten a job. But Justin, when you're in it and you're in that lull period, it's like, man, if you could see what I see,
Mhm.
but then, very quickly you saw that. And then you rolled into a day where you got two offers, right? So take me to that moment. Walk me through
Mhm.
what happened with getting two offers in a day.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because I was if I didn't hear back from Deal, I was gonna take this other offer and move to it was in Houston, so I
Wow.
was gonna have to move to Houston. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like it was like unreal. I was genuinely shocked because just knowing where I was at 2 years ago and went through this whole process in 6 months and kind of gave up, and then joining the sword program and being able to do it in under 30 days. It was
Mm.
just a surreal moment. And yeah, it was amazing. Like I kind of got, I was at lost for words for when I found out. And then kind of had to play the because I was still waiting for Deal. Like I knew I wanted
Yeah.
to be at Deal. And I was kind of waiting to hear back from them. So I kind of had a period where I was like I
Hmm.
verbally accepted the offer with the other company, but then heard back from Deal and decided to go with them. So, but yeah, to answer your question, it was
How
an
how did your
amazing
girl
feeling
react? What
for
did she
sure.
say?
She was super super excited because she wants to move up to we're
Nice.
moving to Maryland to be closer to her family, but it was one of those situations to where it was kind of it depended on where I was gonna land a job. So if I was gonna land one in Houston, I applied to some jobs in New York City. Um, so it was kind of dependent on that. And yeah, she was definitely super
Yeah,
happy because it's a
man,
remote job.
that's
So we'll be
nuts.
able to
That would
move
have
up
been
move up north.
that is
Yeah.
literally
So
life changing in the aspect that instead of moving to Houston for X amount of years, she's gonna get to be next to family. You guys are gonna start your own family, presumably. Like, what a different fate. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, what a different outcome. That's just insane that
yeah,
with one job offer, things can change that much.
it is 100%. Because if it didn't like if I didn't hear back from Deal until
Yeah.
a week later, then I would have already signed the offer to go to Houston, and I would have been in
Wow.
Houston already. So yeah, the timing
Wow.
of it is
Wow.
insane
Okay. Well, I'm
for
super
sure.
pumped for you. Congrats. Now, helping this be very practical, helpful to people listening, I want you to think about that person like
Hmm.
free sword Justin, who's trying to get into tech. Maybe you've already invested in a course careers or something. It's mixed results, whatever.
Hmm.
For that person who's not hearing much back, not making much traction, what would you tell them to do differently starting tomorrow?
A great question. So I'm a big believer in investing. Like I've
Mm,
invested a lot into myself, and I think it's for me. I think it's always better to learn from someone that's done it already, or someone that's been in the field that you want to get into for a very long time, like yourself, for example. Um, learning from someone that was an SDR manager and knows, the different tips and tricks on how to break in, and kind of what leaves people stuck. I think one, I would tell them to invest into a program like yours, where they're able to come in. If they put in the work, they're gonna get the results, right? It's that simple. But yeah, so that's what I would say, number one. If not, then I would say to just
mm,
network as much as possible. Like I said, I had like five, I think five referrals. So I was out there networking. I was on LinkedIn, just reaching out to different people, sending custom videos, just trying to reach as many people as possible, just to try to get my foot in the door. So that definitely helped me. And I think it's a great way to, get around more people that are in the space or people that are
mm,
trying to break in. Um, yeah, so that's kind
yeah.
of what I would say. Invest in yourself if you can. and then just network as
If
much
you
as
were
possible.
to get a chance to sit down with Justin from the time you tried to get into tech and you kind of like let that dream go, if you could sit down with him at that
Mhm.
time, what would you tell him about getting into tech sales?
Good question. I would definitely tell him to keep trying. I think I gave up a little bit too soon, to be honest. I mean, going through a job, going through a job search for 6 months is definitely
Yeah, it
draining.
is.
Especially, I feel like getting into tech sales in itself is super hard. Having to go through multiple rounds of interviews, it's definitely tough. But I definitely would have
Mm,
changed something up sooner rather than just waiting the 6 months of doing the same thing that's clearly not working. And definitely would have invested into better coaching, I would say. That's kind of
sure.
my personal take on it. Um, I definitely would have, yeah, for sure would have invested into some type of different coaching that could, help me get to where I wanted to go instead of just
Gotcha.
giving up, essentially.
Well,
That's
man,
kind of
you
what I would have done.
in essentially 26 days, you doubled your income, and now you're getting to work remote, and you've joined
Yeah.
probably I think it's the
Yeah.
fastest growing tech company right now. On a chart I pulled up a couple weeks ago
Hmm.
because we've had so many clients getting hired at freaking deal, man. It's insane. Um,
Yeah.
what does life look like from here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I start on Monday. So gonna go through the training process. So um I definitely think I finally feel like I'm
Mm,
starting a career in a sense. Like I'm in the high ticket sales space now, but I mean it can be a career. It's just I think it's different. It's commission only, so it can be a little
mhm,
bit harder, it fluctuates a little bit, but I feel like I'm in like a career that I want to be in. Um, Learning about technology, being able to help businesses, and be able to have the opportunity to grow. The plan is to come in, crush it as an SDR, and then eventually get promoted. So that's kind of what that looks like for me. I'll be able to move up north
mhm.
like I originally planned. So I think that's going to be big for myself and my girlfriend, for her to be around her family. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to all of that. And I think um, everything's gonna
Amazing.
be good
Well,
now
thanks
for
for
sure.
trusting me to help you with this. And sitting in that Starbucks a little while ago, looking at you now, man, I'm just so proud of you. And I know some of the voice memo conversations we had and stuff, just proud of you for persisting, for
Hmm.
overcoming that self-doubt and saying, "Okay, I have a little bit of self-doubt here, a little bit of fear here, but I'm gonna push through anyway." And if you hadn't have done that, you wouldn't be here right now. So thank you for that, just showing up, man, that hard
100%.
work. You're a great client to work with. Don't be a stranger. You're part of the sword community for life now. So
Appreciate that.
you should have access to that free SDR first 90-day training course. That should set you up pretty well. Huh?
Is that
Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask you, where is that
I'll drop you the
located? I haven't gotten it.
yeah, I'll drop you
Is
the
it
link.
in the okay?
Um, Here, just Slack me after, and I'll send it over to you. But that'll cover like
Yeah,
the
I
first
got you.
90 days. And if you actually implement that stuff, man, your managers are gonna be like, "Who the heck is this guy? What the flip? We hired really well."
Yeah,
And then
100%.
beyond that, man, any other career support you need, you're part of Sword for Life. So please don't be a stranger, okay?
Sounds good, man. I definitely appreciate you. I know I sent you a bunch of different messages, um, and you were super helpful. I know you sent me a couple 4 or 5 minute voice messages that I think were super helpful, helped me build my confidence back up. So yeah, I definitely, if it wasn't for you, I definitely would not be in the position that I'm in now. So I'm just super, super grateful for you and then, for the
Awesome,
SOAR
bro. I
community
love
as
it.
well.
Cool if I throw up a quick prayer as we close. Is that all right? Awesome.
For
Yeah,
sure.
God, thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you for Justin. Thank you for this opportunity you've blessed him with. And I pray that you continue to bless him. Let him let him use his skill set and use what you've given him to go build an amazing life with his girlfriend up in Maryland. And I just ask that you're with him as he starts on Monday. In Jesus' name, amen.